Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to another fantastic installment of your favorite racing-related curry. That's right, it's another Thursday night edition of the RaceKraft V8 Veterans. Tonight, coming from what is NASCAR's cultural home of racing in terms of things. This time, we'll be taking the supercars to it. One of the more difficult layouts that is actually on offer here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It has hosted the Bank of America Roval 400. This is the 2018 layout, and it's all about riding curbs. It's all about risk versus reward, Mez, and it is going to be a troublesome night at the office, I think, for a lot of drivers on that chicane exit curb. We are going to be talking about those curbs all night long.
Absolutely. They are not sugarcoating it, they really are a nightmare. Haven't driven it myself quite a bit in the past. Very, very easy. There's like one line through those chicanes, and a little bit too far to the left, a little bit too far to the right, and that's it. You'll find yourself in a wall of hurt. So there's been a lot of testing that's been happening in the background, and that's going to be the key focus of trying to make sure they get that right every lap.
Yep, so we'll be talking about the track layout as we go through the qualifying session at the moment. And as we move into this one, it's a little bit of a discussion and celebration of a number of drivers as well, because we've got a 100th start coming through here for Brenton O'Brien, which he will be celebrating by starting from way down the back end of the grid. Chatted to him tonight. He's going to try and stay safe right the way throughout the evening, as well as our defending series champion making his 50th V8 Veterans start tonight for Michael Taliancic. And another driver that's interesting as well to note was Bruce McLeod. I actually got an opportunity to speak to Bruce before we went live here tonight. Bruce actually sets up the track schedules, and that chicane that's in the background of that shot right there, it's the left-hander at the exit. Well, Bruce had this to say about picking tracks and the schedules up and down. Bruce McLeod says, a track is a track. There is those that rise to the challenge, there's those that moan about it, and then there's those that drive over their abilities, was effectively the PG rated version of what he spoke to me tonight. I think that rings true a little bit, Mez. You know, the schedule's out there, everyone's got to drive the same set of tracks, but it's the drivers that got to make that adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. The calendar is put out, and it is what it is. Obviously, we can have discussions on whether that layout is appropriate, but at the end of the day, the decision has been made. That's what you're doing, and yeah, I think he's 100% correct. It's no point moaning about it. It's not going to change. So you've just got to put your best foot forward and rise to the top. And yeah, I think that's what we'll see tonight. Is that we'll definitely see the drivers who have just taken that and just gone, look, this is what it is. We just got to do it. And you'll probably see them up the front of the field tonight.
Yeah, an interesting one that we'll be talking about as well. Talking to a number of members, including one of the league's highest starts drivers, Darren Goosey. I actually had a look at the starts. He's at 171 starts. There's only one man with more starts from the V8 Veterans Series, which is Jamie McKnight with 174 starts. I was chatting to Darren Goosey with that 171 starts, and from his account, we're talking about all three splits up and down the fields. He says, look, 100% chance of a safety car. It's just going to happen around here. With that in mind, what does the strategy play out like? What does it look like? And when can you potentially come in? I think there's going to be a few tricks on the cards, Mez, and this is something I was discussing with a few drivers. I think you're going to see drivers pit the end of lap 2. Why? If a safety car falls around lap 12, lap 10, you can get home from there, and that is your 2 compulsory stops checked off.
Yeah. That was definitely it was also a very big discussion point over the last few weeks about what's happening with that. There's a few opinions floating around about how the compulsory pit stop window is working at the moment, and yeah, and that's quite rightly it's this sort of strategy is why it's brought in a bit of attention to it, because you could get them both checked off very, very early, and you sort of escape that risk of a safety car sort of costing you it all. But you got to remember though that you could get them checked off, but there is still a long, long way to go in that race. And we know for a fact with these cars, the way the tires work, they won't last the whole way anyway. So getting a safety car, getting your pit stops done early does not guarantee you a good result. And if you get a safety car, chances are you're going to be doing what everyone else is doing anyway. So it's a definitely a bit of give and take. I have made known, I'm a massive fan of this strategy, and as you can see on the screen at the moment, we're looking at possible pit stop strategies. It's for that. The pit stop windows can just be so all over the shop. You could get your pit stops nice and done early, or you could try and get them done later on as well. So, you know, there's plenty of to play for in terms of strategy around here.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of dipping, ducking, diving, dodging and dodging. I believe the 5 Ds of dodgeball are certainly going to apply to tonight's racing here from the Charlotte Roval. It's going to be an interesting one. We're going to roll across to our championship standings, and with 3 rounds in the book, you have missed one, Mez. That was for wrestling. You don't really have much of an excuse. I missed one because I was away on holidays, so at least I had an excuse. What did the drivers miss thus far throughout the season? 1 drop round to be applied. Mez and I have already applied ours from the commentary box, but this is how it sits in terms of the championship standings. It is your defending champion, but it is only by a single point. That is how tight we are after 3 rounds through the championship. He's being hunted down by the 2 fishy stablemates. Ken Latta is the foremost amongst those, and Blake Delaney, after that win last week from Okayama, phenomenal drive that he managed to put forward. Brent Nietzsche and Rick Sieber, the Frog Leap Juice teammates, jump a long way up in terms of the standings. I'll have more info on the Frog Leap Juice team coming your way as we progress throughout the coverage tonight. And I also got an opportunity to chat to Damien Cairns earlier on in the piece. Said exactly the same thing as what everyone else is saying. Risk versus reward here tonight, particularly when you're thinking about a championship. And I think those front 3 have got their eyes locked heavily on the last round of the season already.
Yeah, you'll be looking down that way very, very quickly. And the top 3 drivers I'm seeing in the championship now, they'll probably be the top 3 that I'll be looking for to sort of really nail this round. A lot of experience in those top 3 drivers, but you are seeing Brenton Nitschke, fantastic job this year. We mentioned in sort of round 1, he was sort of bobbing around that top 10, really showing he had the pace. And this season, he's just cracked on with it and done a fantastic job. Rick Sieber as well, getting a bit up there. Damien Cairns, just fantastic. Another one as well that was just hovering around that top 15 mark, doing a fantastic job this year to get himself inside the top 5. And so it's really good to see that these guys that we have watched over the last couple of seasons, the hard work is paying off, and they're seeing it in the championship right now. Yes, we're only round 3, but it's a big reward for all their effort they're putting in.
How good's the drive, though, from Dean Flavel? Just recently joined the WK&P Sim Sports, makes his way inside the top 10 in terms of championship standings. I can guarantee you he would absolutely be wrapped with that as everything's progressed as well. Spoke to Jason Strange as well last week. He got involved in that incident with Dave Kirby, and unfortunately ended both of their races effectively. He said, yeah, look, I was just on old tires. I missed it. I made a mistake. I apologize to Dave Kirby. What he actually did as well was he actually tried to straighten Kirby back out, but that ended up polishing him off, unfortunately. So there was an attempt to sort of rectify it there. Bad week last week, shake it off this week, all eyes forward. So a number of drivers, again, up and down the field, trying to reset from some rough weeks. And this season, in terms of things, it's a tricky season. A lot of the tracks here are a lot more challenging than we would normally see on a V8 Supercars calendar, Mez. And how does that wear on you as a driver?
Absolutely. We'll reward you as a driver when you're having to deal with a tough season. But some other news that we'll flick over to in a second is producers telling us is the golden ticket. So obviously, if you haven't been aware, this has sort of come up into the last month or so. So golden ticket, if you are the winner champion for Split 1 this year's V8 Vets, you get an automatic entry into the Pro Invitational Series, which obviously massive series for supercars now, probably the pinnacle of supercars in Australia at the moment. So you'll be able to go straight into to do that, as well as East Coast V8s have 2 up for grabs, I believe, for Split 1 and Split 2. Pro and AM drivers as well. So they'll get an invite in there as well. And top 2 outright. Correction, top 2 outright. And the thing to know is that no driver in Split 1 and in V8 Vets is actually qualified for that. So every driver in this field at the moment is fighting for a chance to get in on that ticket. So there's not just a chance to play for this year, it's a chance to get into Logitech G Pro Invitational as well.
And one of the things that we've spoken about over the last couple of seasons, whenever we've had that opportunity to talk to Tally, I actually went across and had some words with him away from things. He said, yeah, look, it's been tough. I've had to focus on other things. There's been a move, there's been a career change, but he wanted to sort of see whether or not he could stay within the upper echelons of Australian supercars sim racing. And well, yeah, this is one way that he can do it. Doesn't have to go through the qualifying series, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So if you haven't jumped across to the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series, get yourself signed up. I've seen a number of drivers already. It looks like that is filling up quite rapidly. In the meantime, though, it is time to talk about our qualifying results. Who's managed to stand on top here tonight? It is the man that started off as second place last week out, but of course was disqualified for a disagreement due to race control issues. He is back on the top step of the grid here tonight. We'll start off alongside of Michael Taliancic on his outside. On row number 2, making another phenomenal qualifying effort this season is Matt van der Kraan. Off alongside of him will be Scott Gamble. Can Scotty hopefully finish this one strong, unlike what happened all the way back at Phillip Island? Dan Hall manages to make it on row number 3, was not confident on his way in here tonight alongside of Troy Stone Street. Always good to see Troy a long way up the field. Then we'll throw it back to row number 4. We've got Blake Delaney and Brenton Nietzsche. Delaney, after winning last week, a little bit deeper in the field. Only 4 thousandths of a second separating those two drivers. We'll throw it back a tenth of a second there to Chris Miller and Tim Nicol, who are going to run out your first 5 rows of the grid. Again, only 12 thousandths of a second between those two drivers. Michael Stewart and Jason Strange are going to make up row number 6 of the grid. He's just outside the top 10, but have a look at Michael Stewart, how close he is, 4 thousandths of a second between those two drivers. We'll throw it back to Dave Kirby. He's a little bit deeper in the field than he would have liked on row number 7, off alongside of Peter van der Kraan, who again makes another phenomenal qualifying performance for the Angry Birds crew. Let's just hope that he can put that race together this week. David Nash and Greg Sharp are going to be off row number 8. Row number 9 will be Scotty Van Loon and Michael Quain. And rounding out our top 20 and Damian Cairns and Travis Hunt. Both of those drivers not feeling incredibly confident. Mez, over to you for the second 20.
And kicking off in P21, we'll just talk about in top 10 the championship. Dean Favell, he'll be not too happy about that qualifying at the moment, but still plenty to do. Rick Sibra as well, another driver inside the top 10 with another poor qualifying, but we wanted to make a rectify that one. Darren Crosby is behind in P23 with Mario Reale in P24. Then we'll go another row back. Paul Warwick coming out of P25 with Chad Lewis alongside the ERT machine. We're just starting to see just outside of a second down to P26. The field is incredibly close tonight. We'll go another row back. P27 will be Jamie McKnight, and alongside will be Stephen Kennedy out of P28. P29 will be Robert Crisdale, and alongside him Ricky Hyde in P30. And then we'll go another row back with Paul Burns in P31. Alongside will be Stewie Hall out of P32. Jeff Thomas will be starting alongside Damien Cross in P33 and P34. Robbie Griffiths will be starting in P35 with Nick Wood alongside in P36. Steve Banks in P37 with Scotty McCune alongside in P38. And a bit further back towards the back of the field, Rick Vigor P39 with Chris Blanchard in P40 spot. Now, something big to notice here, a couple of drivers here as well. Ken Latta out of P41. So I'm wondering if he has not set a valid lap time. So 2 laps, no valid lap time. And I'll also be saying the same for Brenton O'Brien as well. Not able to set a valid lap time, so be out of P42. And it'll be Michael Yo. Not sure if that's the correct split, but Chad Vigor out of P44. So P43 would technically be Chad Vigor. And that will be the grid for tonight's race.
I tell you what, they are starting back on the oval. That's how deep through this one. So from the very back end of the grid, from Brenton O'Brien will be right all the way down there, and Chad Vigor will be the other one that's so far back in terms of their grid slots. Ken Latta's got a lot to do. No qualifying time set for him, and it's been a long time since that's happened for Ken Latta. He will have a lot to do. He's only 1 point off of the championship as it currently stands. That could very well change. But for Michael Taliancic as well, he's off along the outside of the front row of the grid. It's not the easiest easiest run down into turn number 1. Drama could happen. I'm telling you what though, Mez, that strategy, if all of a sudden, if I'm in Ken Ladder's shoes, I'm pitting at the end of lap 2. I'm absolutely coming in at the end of lap 2. Let's check one of those stops up. Let's get this car full. Let's run along through that middle of the race.
Yeah, definitely a viable strategy, and yeah, just something to be aware of, especially if you're down in the pack as well. You've got to remember too, it's a very, very tight track. There's not a whole lot of passing opportunity, especially with that back chicane. It's a passing opportunity with a different layout. With this one, not so much. It's going to be a straight run through that corner, so there won't be a chance there. So if you're in the mid pack and you're being held up, that early pit strategy, 100%, I'd be looking for the pit lane to go for that.
Righto, so we are just moments away, ladies and gentlemen, about 15 seconds now to the drop of the green flag. We'll be off and racing. Don't forget as well, it's for the drivers that are towards the tail end of the field, have a look at them all stacked up as they look to come through the chicane. That's not going to be easy to get through. And for everyone towards the tail end, the lights are going to start to come on. We are set for a start here for round number 4 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is from the Roval. It's got the fast chicane at the back. Who's going to get the fast start from the front end of the grid? Both of our front row get away nice and easily. Keep your eyes all the way deep in the pack as they try to get their way through the chicane. It'll be Lob from Talianchich as they get down through turn number 1. It's going to be Vanderkraan who managed to get off to start nice and simply. Gamble's still there in 4th. Blake Dan Hall got through. Delaney's grabbed a couple spots, and there's some trouble all the way down the field through turn 1. Kind of expected that on the opening lap here, and drivers feeding out from the pit lane as well.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a... And oh, we've got a car. Scott McHugh's on his side out of turn 3. That's going to trigger us. There has to be a safety car in the opening lap. Look, you can see the car there. It's stuck on its side. It is not going anywhere. I was just about to say it was actually a really good done. There was a little bit of side-by-side, and there's the call for the safety car.
Yeah, that one, they did not even hesitate to get that one out. He's stricken on his side. Not much they could realistically do. They sort of had to call that one straight away. That they have done now. So everyone will try and settle it down. The key factor that we've got as a part of this one, though, is that the pit lane window will not be opening at the conclusion of this lap. So if you come in at the end of this lap, this will not count as one of your compulsory pit stops. You can still pit, but you'll still have to pit twice more.
Yeah, absolutely. Caught us out with the first time it ran around deciding how that was working, but no, we figured that one out. And yeah, it's going to be that second time through, so they're going to have to complete a full circulation after the safety car returns to pit lane. So that's going to push the window out a fair bit, but again, start thinking about that, where you would have been thinking about pitting on this lap. You can see one car in the pit lane, but it might have been involved earlier into the pit lane as well, so these will not be ticking off their compulsory pit stops. They will still need to do 2 more after this one. But yeah, I was going to marvel at the fact there was a little bit of contact in turn 1. 2 cars got a bit sideways, but they managed to keep going. I thought this is going to be fantastic. They actually managed to get through the first quarter and keep going, but yeah, unfortunately, that's is that a drive-through?
From Rob Crisdale? What's going on though? So Crisdale's just driven straight through the pit lane. Did McKnight drive straight through as well? Yeah, so as Brenton O'Brien started from pit lane, is the other one I have on my radar. Chad Vigger's taking a stop. Paul Warwick, Ken Ladder, Chris Blanchard, McCune has now towed, and Rick Vigger are your drivers that did stop under that safety car. So their stops from here, I would hazard a guess they've only got to add probably, 15, 20 litres worth of fuel across the remainder of the race. It's not a huge deal. It's effectively 9 laps worth of fuel and around 2.8 litres a lap. What's that? So we're going to end up, around 25 litres a lap. So I'm a little bit off on the math there, but that's effectively what we're going to be looking at for these guys.
Yeah, so they'll be going well deep into the race as well. So, but yeah, interesting. I'm wondering, can't quite make out that one. Ken Ladder, yep, so in the box as well. So this will be good for Ken. Playing the reverse strategy was down the back of the field anyway, so it doesn't hurt him to do this strategy at all. Wasn't really gonna, probably wouldn't have gained many places out of that start anyway, seeing as the safety car came so early. So again, this is like a perfect strategy for him to do. Get a ton of fuel in the car, does reduce those extra stops that he does have to do. May even be able to take an early pit stop once we go back to green flag racing. We'll try and get a replay up and have a look.
We'll give you guys the heads up watching along at home. We won't be commentating live on replays, unfortunately, here tonight. We're a little bit delayed with the commentary that'll be coming those ways. Technical issues coming the way, but we can at least break it down. This was Paul Warwick It was trundling around. So there's a secondary something that's going on. So this will be a checkup at the tail end of the field.
Yeah. So as producers in the ears, he's sorting his stuff out. But yes, we're having a quick look at replay to see what happened with Paul Warwick at the start of this one. Moved down the inside of Steve Kennedy and a little bit of contact. Oh, Crosby, sorry. Darren Crosby was that one, in fact. And yeah, just a little bit of side-by-side contact. Didn't damage either cars too badly, and they managed to keep going. But Scotty McCune, be interesting to see what actually happened.
Well, it was between turn 3 and turn... I thought, was it a little bit... There it is, yeah. I was about to say it's turn 3. So is he going to tag on the way in there, or does he miss that on his own?
I'm going to go back and actually have a look at that myself real quick, because that's an odd one. Yeah, although we are seeing it on screen at the moment.
He didn't get a tag. It was Robbie Griffiths. It was Robbie Griffiths that helped him along.
No, was there another bit of contact behind? Because it looked like Robbie Griffiths was also getting sideways as well. So was there contact elsewhere? So we're going on board with Robbie Griffiths, heading down towards turn 2, running through turn 2. And... McCune into Griffiths. So there was the contact between each other, and then that's kind of spat the car sideways a little bit, and then sort of finished him off. So, yeah, that was just two cars trying to occupy the same bit of space.
Update as well, ladies and gents, as we're watching those replays as well. I believe we will actually probably be going back to green flag racing at the end of this lap. Yeah, safety cars pulling away as we currently talk. A number of drivers have come back down to the attention of their pit crews. Jeff Thomas is among them. Damien Cross, Brenton O'Brien, Jeff Thomas, Steve Banks, Robert Griffiths are the drivers that have come through the pit lane again. So there is more going on at this point in time. And yeah, so drivers have transitioned through the pit lane. We are back under the control of Darren Lobb, and he will be leading us back to the start-finish line here in just a few moments to go back to green flag racing. For the drivers a little bit further down the field, this is probably what they wanted to see. Lobb's gone already. Didn't wait all that long, and he is back to green flag racing on the run through to the final chicane. The checkup is going to be in behind, potentially Matt Van der Kraan. Didn't get a good restart. Now he'll have Gamble, Dan Hall, and Blake Delaney crawling all over him as we go green flag racing for the second time tonight to start off lap number 4. When they get back to the start-finish line this time by, pit lane window will be open, so you might even see a couple drivers dive through. And for those drivers who are at the tail end of the field, even though they haven't taken a pit stop at this point in time, that's critical. They've knocked out a huge chunk of that fuel, and Ken Lanner's among them. Yeah.
Big important there. Trying to reverse this strategy now, try and play themselves back into this race. Trying to do that. So we're looking at Delaney on the at the moment. And we're switching back to Ken Lanner now, back down the field in P33. So he'll be looking to move his way. He's got Rob Crisdale in front at the moment. So this will be a bit of a drive here at the moment, because like I said, P33 at the moment, he's got to try and pass his way all the way through the field, and this track's a bit difficult to pass on. You'll see him coming on to the NASCAR turn 1, heading to NASCAR turn 2 as they come back onto the oval from the infield, and then they'll run all the way down the back straight. And as I said, there's this big chicane that they're going to come up to high speed all the way through it. It's very hard to get the move done there, but he'll come out the other side of it, and this is probably where he'll have to try and set up. He can get a really good run through the corner. He can try and get to the inside of the car in front as they head down to the
car around in the chicane. It's going to be Steve Kennedy is the car that you just saw on your screen, spinning off to the right-hand side at the exit of the chicane. Has managed to arrest that car and is trying to get it refired and pointing in the right direction as we currently stand. So something's going on there for Stephen Kennedy, and I get a feeling we're going to replay in a minute. But for right now, it is going to be everyone trying to settle down, trying to get into that rhythm. There are no takers the first time by as we go back green flag racing. So we will not get anyone pitting in, and it's going to be a downshift. No, it's going to be the car transitioning as he tipped into the chicane. So he saved that one extremely well. For Stephen Kennedy, who dropped to the rear end of the field, but he is still in the race and he has no damage.
Yeah, I'd actually say that probably would be a downshift. The way it's unloaded itself as it's coming to the corner, that'd be maybe just downshifted just a little bit too early. It's so easy to do. Just a little bit too early on the downshift, and it's just stamped it sideways. So, but yeah, no damage. He'll get to go away with it. The rear tyres will be hurting a little bit, but he'll be able to carry on with it. Now we'll flick back to this battle as well. P3, Matt Vanderkraan, Scott Gamble over the back at the moment. As we head on to lap 6, Darren Long punching in the fastest lap of the race at the moment. So Darren already got a 1.8 second lead. He is just checking away from this field at the moment. But the battle for the podium, Scott Gamble on a back into the series this year, but on a reduced calendar. So he sort of said that he's just going to fight for it every single way. He's going to go for results. Championship, no, not worried about it, but he's going to hunt for results. So he's going to be all over the back of Matt Vanderkraan. He's going to be wanting to go for a podium. And the first thing he's got to do, you can see Talyancic is not far in front either. So he's got to get past Vanderkraan and then try and get down the road and try to get to Talyancic.
Yeah, it's interesting to sort of keep half an eye on at this point in time because Gamble's shadowing him now. Pulls out just to show him, hey, I'm looking at this. I'm looking to try and set it up. He's got a better run through the chicane now as they come onto the NASCAR corners. They don't go down through what is known as NASCAR 3 and 4. It's going to be a touch of a wheel underneath the blue line for Vanderkraan, but he's going to hang on to it for another lap. In the meantime, have a look in the background because Blake Delaney is starting to crawl all the way across that rear bumper of Dan Hall as well. So there's a couple battles for the premium places in these ones. In terms of stats over the last couple of seasons, it's a big drive for Matt Vanderkraan and a big opportunity to put it all together. Over the last 4 seasons, season number 15 was his best finish, got a 2nd place. Season 16, 3rd place. Since then, has not finished on the podium. And I think this is another season that he would absolutely love to chalk up podium number 4, or 3 or 4, I think, for Matt Vanderkraan at this point in time. So a big opportunity for him tonight. As for last week's winner, at this moment, Simon Mazzomo, he's looking at the rear end of the ERT car of Dan Hall, and he's got some work ahead of him.
Yep, as we look in the in-car of Dan Hall at the moment, you can see hard at work with that a very, I think you pointed out last time we had a look at this, very Jamie Whincup style steering wheel where Jamie was running the GT style wheel. Very, very similar feel of it. Oh no, yep, you can see it right there. Oh, he's hard into the wall, big time. He's avoided contact with everyone else, but that is going to be a bit, yeah, you can see the right hand down a bit. It is bent the side of that car badly. Yep, they'll be straight back to pit lane. Disappointing up into P5 as top 5 running. Go to replay and have a quick look at this one. But yeah, coming out of the chicane, he'll lose it.
And it wasn't the curbs on the left-hand side that we've been talking about are probably going to be the troublesome one. It was the curbs on the right-hand side. Stayed too tight through the chicane, rode the curb the whole way through, and the car was just unsettled as he turns back to the right. And there's no room for error in terms of that one. Into the pit lane, fast repair, burned to the rear of the field. But he is the first driver tonight to tick off a compulsory pit stop. So, well, I mean, there's some downsides to that one. But that is absolutely a little bit of an upside that he has to take away from this.
Yeah, that's the thing. Being so close to pit lane could easily, good job avoiding getting involved with anyone else in that one as well. But dart straight to pit lane, get your first compulsory stop out of the way. Yes, it's going to put him down on the field, which you probably don't want to be. He'd rather be a bit further up the field. But yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. Back.
Oh, no way! Side by side as they enter the backstretch again. Surely they don't get out the other side. And you know what? I think they have. I think they may be okay as they've gotten out the other side. There was some door banging, and it's one of those corners where there's got to be a driver's agreement. Peter Vanderkraan's got damage, and it looks like there might be a car trying to get to the inside of him at this point in time. It's Damien Cairns who's trying to get through there. They will trade paint all the way out the other side, all the way to the wall, and now all the way down to turn number 1. Can Cairns get to the inside? For Peter Vanderkraan, we were just saying what a phenomenal qualifying performance he's put in the last 2 weeks. The races, though, have left a lot to answer for.
Watch this when it comes up. This is phenomenal. I went back and had a quick look at it. This is the, as you mentioned, gentleman's agreement. What is the gentleman's agreement for here? Because they're both equally alongside each other as they come in. There's a bit of contact and then over the curb. I think it was Scotty Van Loon actually straightened him up a little bit there as well. But how he's come out of that curb, it has damaged the entire left-hand side of that car. So it's going to struggle for this. But how lucky for all of them to get out of that one. That was incredible stuff through that corner.
Yeah. And they're going to go side by side at this point in time. And here comes Peter Vanderkraan. It's been 2 laps in a row. They get to the chicane. It's 2 laps in a row. He trades some paint. They all get out the other side. Vanderkraan's losing it down on the apron. He's going to come back up across the traffic. Has managed managed to secure it, has managed to lock it down for now. But my word, for the driver of the 46, I tell you what, that is not a pretty looking car at the moment. It's not a pretty looking ride through that chicane either. He's had some real help here tonight, Peter van der Kraan, but not the kind of help that I think you or I really wanted to see him having.
No, definitely not. Bringing that to pit lane, yeah, that thing is not going to be the whole front end of that car is massively damaged. Oh, we've got another car as well. You can see it's missing the front car completely. Crosby. Ken Ladder, though, that car's still clean and is slowly ticking his way through the field, but yeah, 2 laps in a row we've seen cars try and go side by side through there. I think maybe there needs to be a bit of reminder to drivers that you're not going to fit 2 cars through there, especially in Peter's position where he's a damaged car. He's going to struggle a bit for pace. Maybe it's one of those situations where you just sort of roll out of it and just live to fight another day. Maybe that just reminder through the field that, yeah, it's a long, long race to go. Just back off a little bit and reassess the situation.
Did you just say to a racing car driver, you need to back off and reassess the situation? First and foremost, maybe they might reassess. It'll be how hard can I put that throttle back down, though? There'll be no backing off.
Yeah. I gotta remember these guys that they don't come from the endurance mindset where the race is about 12 hours down the road. No, there's only about 45 laps left in this race. No, we're just going to throw it at the wall. Absolutely. But yeah, it also a testament to the fact that they have actually managed to sort of go away with that with no safety cars. How someone hasn't ended up on their roof or a multi-car pile-up, they've managed to keep it going. Not sure if it's luck or if it's just pure skill we're seeing at the moment in this field.
Well, over those last couple of laps, Peter van der Kraan's ride got a little bit wild. How about the drivers that have been on the improve thus far throughout the standings tonight? As you take a look up and down your timing board on the left-hand side of your screen, not a huge deal on that board, but I tell you what, Nick Wood is plus 13 at this point in time. Ken Ladder, we sort of expected, started out at 41st, up 16 spots. He's only 2 spots in behind him, and there are a few shakers going in the opposite direction. Chris Blanchard, another mover as well, started out at 40th place, up 11. So you can make ground around here, although I think there's some pit lane strategies a part of that one. Another driver is a gainer as well as Chad Vigor is plus 12 at this point in time. Sieber is plus 5 inside the top 20. Travis Hunt's plus 4. Other than that, yeah, there's a few drivers going backward actually. Michael Stewart, who we did actually see involved with Peter van der Kraan, started out of 11th. And he's dropped all the way down to 15th as a result of a little bit of door banging. So it was a post-race points penalty, I think, just came out the way of the car 66, which was Darren Crosby. So there was something investigated by race control there, but all stabilised for now. Now we start to get into the bits and pieces of the race where it becomes about strategery. And Mez, we're only 2 laps away from the pit window to get home.
I'm just trying to comprehend strategery. Like, do you have your own like dictionary?
It's
like,
a NASCAR term, mate.
It's a NASCAR term.
Yeah, that one didn't come out of my mouth. That's not a Scotty Rankin original, no.
Oh, I thought you were full of original.
not that good. Not strategery. Strategery is not mine. There are some originals.
All right. So I've given you more credit than what you deserve. But anyway,
I'll take it.
I'm board with Chirp at the moment, heading through the final chicane into turn 1 as well. Hard at work. We've got the in-car camera going as well. You can see the eyes are just focused at the moment, and you have to be around this track at the moment. You can't really take a breather for a second. As you probably imagine looking at the clips from this track, there is not really an opportunity to breathe. You get a short break here, maybe a short break on the back straight as well, but that's it. It is just you're working the entire way around. And you can see coming through this section here, you've got to be so gentle with the car. You've got to flow the car really, really well. Very, very gentle with the throttle. I know with a lot of other cars I've raced here, you've got to be very gentle with how you apply the throttle, how you brake. These things, 10 times worse. You've got to be so gentle with these things. Try and nestle them through the corner. Make sure not overwork the tyres too much. And then obviously running out onto the back straight through this section. We've talked about it a lot. Through. Oh.
Look at the shake of the head and the emotion that comes out of Dave Kirby. You can tell he missed that by probably a metre. Less than a metre, and you can see how disappointed he was, because in his mind and the way that Dave Kirby drives, it's not all out attack from Dave Kirby. He's smart. He's a sort of a an endurance hunter. He'll run you down and then he'll think about it. Oh, he's actually forced a mistake out of the cars ahead. Actually, that might be Peter Vanderkran, just sidestepping these guys. In the meantime, though, there's a really, really intriguing battle going on around 20th place with Michael Quain is at the lead of this little battle pack at the moment. I think Mario Real is actually in a part of this one. There's a number of drivers in and around this point on the track. Ken Ladder's just cut through a couple spots, but Michael Quain had Nick Wood down the inside of him, down at turn 5 and turn 6 on the most recent lap. That caused a number of checkups. So this battle pack are all squabbling, and this has got the first of the cars that have actually transited the lane already. And critically for Ken Ladder, he's cut his way through the field, but now he's strategically in a better position at the moment, Mez. That's huge for a comeback drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting from the back of the field, and yeah, you can see the train coming onto screen at the moment, and Ken's really leading that charge at the moment. You can see there's going to be a train of cars behind him, 18th all the way down to 27th. Look at that. There's like the biggest gap we've got is probably the gap between Chad and Mario. Everyone else, it's all within a second. This train is massive at the moment. Ken using every little bit. You can see Quain did not get a good run through here. He's going to try and flick to the inside. This is what we're saying. Get alongside them. Quain looks to roll out. No, he's going for pit lane. He is ducking into the pits. He's taken an opportunity. As you mentioned, the pit window was going to open the next lap or two. Looks like it's opened for Michael Quain to get his first pit stop done.
Number of drivers as well in terms of talking about the even strategy. 18 and 36 was about what they were looking for. Even 18, 19, 20 if you really felt like it. Push it out for another 20, come in on lap 40. So there's a few little bit of leeway. You'll see the drivers start to duck into the lane anytime around there. This is sort of the front end of the first pit stop window, but for Michael Taliancic at the moment, Scott Gamble's already cut his way. These guys are going to go side by side through the chicane, and I tell you what, Scott Gamble has gone motocross this time this year. He's taken some time away from the V8 veterans, and I don't think he's picked up two-wheeled racing as a part of that, but then for a few moments he picked up no-wheeled racing.
Yeah, can we give style points for that landing? 100%. That deserves at least 5 points for that landing. That was incredible. I would have thought the experience between Taliancic and Gamble, they may have not have decided to do that, but no, 10 out of 10, both of them were committed to that one. And Gamble to do that, we'll get a quick replay.
And the
actually, Gamble gets...
He was on the lights straight away afterwards to let Tally know that, hey, I'm not happy about that. But you're the driver from behind, Mez. Like, if you want to get the move done, the driver from behind's the guy that's got to make the adjustments to try and get through there. And it was the motocross move. He left him enough space. They barely traded paint.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was incredible. They both got through there perfectly well. But yeah, I'm not sure. Obviously, didn't see it in the chat. But like, what would the gentleman's agreement be in that situation? I'd honestly say that if you're the car with your nose in front, you get the corner. Looked like Gamble was going to have another look. But yeah, 100%. If you're the car that's got a nose in front, you get the corner. But yeah, Gamble's got the run this time. Taliancic is really struggling. Gamble, and then it pits as well. So Tally saw that going on and just thought, nah, this is my time to pit.
Yeah, well, he's also going to try and use this one to get back ahead of Darren Lobb. In the meantime, Scott Gamble started out of P4 on the outside of row number 2. Did manage to get an overtake done nice and early on from Matt Vanderkran, and that's the overtake that now puts him into P number 2. So for Tally, he's going to take the risk here, jump in, get some fresh rubber on, and defend that position by going further down the track. In the meantime, Blake Delaney's made up a little bit of time. We're starting to see the pit lane strategies work its way through. Should we keep an eye on that battle in and around 20th spot yet again, because Mario Real has now got Ken Ladder in behind him. Nick Wood has also gained a spot, so something's happened to Quainey out of this battle. I get the feeling that Michael Quain's probably pitted. He did pit the last time by, so that pit lane strategy is really starting to come to the fore. How about this from Dean Flavell, now starting to look in the rearview mirror, and Chad Lewis wants to fill that rearview mirror full of the Logitech ERT car as they run through turn 5 and up to turn 6. Crest at 6. She's nice and tricky for a V8 supercar driver as well. You cannot stomp on the loud pedal when she's going around.
No, you cannot. It's got to be very, very, what Cam and I used to say a lot, throttle control. You need a fair bit of that through that section. Have you not heard that one?
I've not heard that one. Can I get that recorded?
We've got it. Okay. Side note, but there is a team that exists. Now, technically, the team only consists of me and Cam, but it is called Throttle Control Motorsport. We used to run, and we can see straight into pit lane. It looks like Chad Blanchard, Real into pit lane. So pit stops will be happening there. And yeah, we're looking very close. We'd be very close to not having much left in the tank. I see a few other cars in pit lane. Like Crisdale was into the box as well. So pit lane starting to heat up at the moment. Top three still have not pitted yet. Darren Lobb still well out in front of the moment. A 7-second lead back to Matt Vanderkram, Blake Delaney as well in P3. So Darren Lobb doing a fantastic job at the moment. He's really just been doing his own thing. He's checked out in front of the pack and hasn't really looked back since.
Yeah, and he's just ride the curb a little bit awkwardly, so he's going to start lap number 19 for Darren Lobb. Don't forget, we've had a couple laps on the safety car here as well. According to Darren Goose's fuel numbers, you're going to save about 1.8 litres under safety car. You're only going to burn about 0.8 of a litre under safety car, so really, really chomping down on the fuel. For every second lap, you are adding a lap to the tank, and they definitely did 2-3 laps under safety car, so they would have added that extra lap so far tonight. In terms of strategy, who is going to run long? Blake Delaney's going to run long. Chris Miller, Troy Stonestreet, Brent Nietzsche, Tim Nichols also continued on. Vanderkran is the first out of that mob to pit, as is Nick Wood has also gone on. So a number of drivers up and down the field. There'll be a few drivers as well that will cycle towards the front. Rob Crisdale is the first among those, I believe, as well. Crisdale, Paul Warwick, Chris Blanchard, and Jeff Thomas all completed a non-compulsory pit stop. So the pit stop not completed and not checked off against their name, but they did not have to stop, and they won't have to stop for as long for their second. They will have to make effectively 3 stops throughout the night, but they won't be for as long, and there could be some advantage in that.
Also noticing as well, Ken Latta has actually also returned to the box as well. So Ken Latta has got all his pit stops requirements done. Sorry, no, he came out of the safety car, Sorry, I'm jumping the gun there as well, sorry. Yeah, so just noticed he pit, but that works as well. It keeps him on strategy with everyone else. That's probably the good thing as well, is to make sure you keep yourself on strategy. Even though he's probably filled the tank up and could afford to run a bit longer, staying on strategy with everyone else is very important in this situation. So regardless of whether it was his final stop required or not, smart move by Ken Latta to go in and get it done.
Yeah, so a number of drivers come to the lane this time by. Lobb's gone another one, so as is Delaney, as everyone that stayed out thus far tonight has kicked on for another lap. There was actually some shout-outs going on in the chat there for a few moments for you, Mez. They wanted to see if it was Simon Mazzomo in the booth. Can confirm Simon Mazzomo continuing his V8 Veterans duties. Yeah. Do you want to inform your loving crowd why you weren't here last week?
Why I was not here last week? Well, okay, so I have an issue in my life. I enjoy the art of watching. Oh, sorry, Darren Lobb's going to ruin my story time. But anyway, leader into the pit lane, so Darren Lobb will pit. Yeah, don't worry, I will explain it. Don't worry, Scott, you'll get your moment. And Delaney is continuing on at the moment, so not pitting just yet. So the strategy is all up in the open. We're interested to see where we see.
There's a number of cars staying out quite long. Chris Miller. So 2 of the Fishy Motorsports drivers kicking on. Yeah, all the Fishy cars at the front are actually going to kick on because here comes Kirby as well. So Nietzsche's gone on. Strange is in. Scotty Van Loon is in. Tim Nicol pit on the last time by, as has Michael Stewart. So keeping half an eye on the drivers that have not pit at the moment. Paul Warwick has jumped a number of places up. He's actually the lead driver who did pit on that first safety car. Unfortunately, though, for him, probably don't want to look at his car for an extended period of time at the moment because there's a lot of damage to it. He's actually in the background of that shot with Nick Wood in it. You might have just seen a flash of it. So something further has happened there for Paul Warwick, unfortunately, and strategically in a good spot. But overall race scenario, not in a great spot. Be interested to see. He might actually hang on to that fast repair for another half tank of fuel and then come back in. Although it's going to be a long run to the end from here, so it might actually be time for that. Blake Delaney will come down to the pit lane at the end of this lap, as do a number of cars in behind as well, which is just about everyone. Yeah, so everyone that had stayed out at that point in time now comes to the attention of their teams. So basically all the Fishy cars and then Stone Street and Nietzsche is effectively how that's worked.
Yeah, Nick Hood. Yep, it was the last one I was watching to see if he would pit. Nick Hood is into pit lane. Yeah, I think I was noticing too. Scott Gamble's dropped a fair bit off from Tallianchich out of that pit stop. He was about 2 seconds longer in the pit, but he's dropped a bit of the way off. Tallianchich actually closed a little bit up to Darren Lobb as well in the pit stop. So the pit stops themselves are all starting to play around their own strategy a little bit. Watching Blake Delaney at the moment. Blake Delaney in the pits for a very long time. Oh, sorry, no,
he's filled that car.
He's filled it. It's about on par. We were seeing about 26. Scott Gamble was about 29. Matt Tallianchich was 26 on the dot. Lobb was about 26.8 as well. So he's about on the dot. It looked like that was a much longer stop than what it actually was. So he's about where everyone else is. And so straight you can see just in front of him is Scott Gamble. So and
Paul
Nash
Warwick
as well.
I'll tell you what, Paul Warwick leads the race at the moment. How about this for the Fishy Motorsports driver? I think this will be one of the few times that Paul Warwick has actually led laps. Now, is it pit lane strategy affected? Yes. But does that matter? No. No, it does not.
No.
Cheering. Absolutely every minute of it, you're cheering.
Any chance you can lead a race and into pit lane, a big lock up on the way into pit lane. Good thing he doesn't need that tyre anymore. But any opportunity that you get to lead a race, whether it's on pit strategy or not, you get a lap led next to your name. And unless people ask questions, they won't know why. So you can carry that one and say, yep, I led a race at V8 Vets. So you can have that one.
Alternatively, just refuse to answer the questions when they do ask them.
That's usually what I do. I just say, nah, you don't want to know about it. It's fine. I let a lap. So obviously tell like I use that excuse all the time. Any chance I can lead a lap? Yeah, no, I let that.
Were you behind the wheel of the safety car? Next question, please.
No, I haven't done that one. I have in the past taken a bit of happiness from the fact that like there's people that I have done more laps on track for. Anyone I beat when I'm the safety car driver because they may have crashed out or something else like that, it's just like, yeah, I beat them in a safety car.
You're a cruel man, Mez. Now back to story time. You're in the middle of a story, right when they all decided to break out into a pit stop window. What's the conclusion, Mez?
All right, so yes, I have an issue. I enjoy the art of fake wrestling, you'd call it. Basically, I call performance art because basically it's just men and women throwing each other around, getting themselves hurt for no real gain at all. Yes, I'm into that professional wrestling stuff. Wrestle Kingdom was on. It has become my new favorite thing. Every year, January 4th, no matter where, no matter when, I'll be watching it. And yes, it just so happened to fall on a Thursday night. And yeah, well, let's just put it this way. As much as I enjoy spending my Thursday nights with Scott and Dan...
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
I'm not going to lie. Unfortunately, you're just not as important to me as what Wrestle Kingdom is. So, yeah, Wrestle Kingdom will always come before you. I'm sorry, mate.
And the final question to come from chat this evening, what is your stage name?
My stage name?
Yes. He's the mozzarella. The mozzarella.
We'll go with that. In an alternate life, if I ever was a professional wrestler, I have already picked up my entrance music. It was never going to happen, but no, I definitely do not have a stage name. So,
actually, on-screen wrestling at this point in time for Ken Latta as he attempts to wrestle that car around. That was Robbie Griffiths sidestepping, and they say there's no team orders over at Fishy. That was definitely some team orders at play right there. Albeit, I think Robbie Griffiths actually was coming to the lane, which is why he sidestepped him. So there was a little bit of communication going on board right there. But for right now, Ken Latta, rear of the field, has driven a phenomenal race at this point in time. And this is the segment of the race where his strategy will he will gain spots at this pit stop, which he has now done. He gained the tune of about, about 8 spots at the last pit stop, just from throwing a splash in there to cover the tyres. He will gain at the next stop again as well because he will not have as much to fill. He's only 20 seconds off the lead of this race. This is a phenomenal drive at the moment for Ken Latta. He's in a really, really good world. And when we all come down to the end of the season, one of the big things I think you've really got to look at a champion or the drivers that are in contention and judge them by is their drives from the rear of the field, drives when their chips are down. Last season, it was the drive of the season for me from Michael Taliancic at Laguna Seca, where he drove from being turned on the run down to turn 1 on lap 1, back through the field and finished deep inside the top 10. I think it was actually a top 5 finish by the back end of things. Ken Ladder's going to pick off another car, which is Jason Strange. Strange looking for more consistent finishes. And that is into the top 10 for Ken Ladder. And that is 30-plus spots gained. It's 31 by the timing tower at this point in time. That is a mammoth drive.
Yeah, especially on a track around here, as we've noted tonight on Charlotte. So it's a fantastic effort. So, and as you said, it's those big achievements when, you know, things aren't going your way. You're already on the back foot. You know, it's to be able to come through the field like he has now inside the top 10. Still a fair way to go in this one, so the job's only half done for Ken Ladder. He's still got a bit more to go, but to get to this point, it gives you just that little bit more confidence, that you feel a little bit more relaxed. It's like, okay, got myself through the field, I'm back inside the top 10. I am on strategy with everyone else. It's not like he's off strategy playing a different card to everyone else. He is on the same strategy as everyone else, so it gives you a bit more confidence. You can relax a little, so this will only help him a little bit more to sort of finish this race off. So and yeah, when we get to talk championship picture down the end of the race, if it does come down to, you know, Taliancic and Ken Ladder in the final round, he'll look at this result and say, look, I set up a championship run right here just from this drive.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've just gone and found the stats on how many positions Ken Ladder has gained throughout the season thus far. He has gained 2 total. Tonight, he is 15 times more positions than he has gained in the 3 races prior to this one. That is how good this drive is. Now, qualifying will certainly help for that, but at the end of the day, he's put himself at the back end of the field. And I will go back to that quote that I've got by Bruce McLeod as well, as we're actually going to go to a replay of Damien Cross, which was just called into race control. Chris Miller's got to the back of him. I think, yeah, has indeed done that. So for Funky, turns him around, and Chris, I guarantee you will sit here and wait. He will want to redress that one, because that's just the way Chris is.
Yeah, slowing it up a little bit. Yeah, you can see he's getting out of the way. So Damien's, he's having a bit of issues. He's probably trying to get himself back going again. He is going again. But yeah, I'm expecting we're going to see the readdress happen there, which is fair enough. It's a bit of a open shut case. Yep, we can see on screen now that redress has happened, but yeah, it's a bit of a closed case there. The contact was in the rear. Best thing, the easiest thing to do is just redress that position and move on from there. There'll probably still be a license points penalty in that regard. There'll still be a penalty for it, but it'd be less likely to be anything more serious than that.
Some JWM coverage, please. I agree. That is a great opportunity to go looking up and down the field for our boys at a JWM. Travis Hunt at the moment sitting in P14. He is in behind Dan Hall, so something further has happened to Dan Hall. Dan Hall's had to come back to the pit lane for further repairs. Actually, I tell you what, he might have missed his fast repair the first time through. So for the driver that was inside the top 5, unfortunately for Dan Hall, will drop significantly down. He's miles off the pace at the moment. Travis Hunt is on your screen with those new liveries. They look quite pretty as well. Do enjoy looking at those in P14. Whereas Jeff Thomas is a lot... We're getting information, those lines on the camera for Travis as well. That's actually coming from Travis's feed, so that's not necessarily something we can control. I can tell you. Jeff is talking. Actually, Jeff Thomas was just talking to someone in behind him, I think, at the moment. Or he's listening to the stream, because he was talking in race to us. So Jeff Thomas sitting in 27th at the moment. I did chat to both of those guys beforehand. They absolutely think that there is a huge commentator's curse every time I talk to them. And so I've resigned myself to talking to them every single week. What's happened there for Jeff Thomas?
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Yeah, there's a screen.
So there was a webcam attached to somewhere to look over his shoulder or something, and has been bumped off for Jeff Thomas.
Yeah, so now we get to look at his right side monitor, I guess, which he got, as we saw in the main screen, he got very, very close to the outside wall. Thankfully, that's as far close as it got. But yeah, always something fun with those in-car cameras. And I was wondering if we were going to get another side-by-side down there. The other thing I was interested with Travis Hunt is, and this is the other thing I'm going to marvel about these guys, is using the sequential shifter. Of all places, why would you want to use the sequential shifter around here? You're constantly changing gears. It's why God invented paddle shifts, guys. Come on. They're nice and easy. They're on the steering wheel. You don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, hats off for being able to use sequential shifters around this place.
You say that. I was actually chatting to Jeff and Travis. Now, Jeff has moved to auto blip as of this season. So he moved away from auto blip as of this season. Up until he tried 3 races last season where he was manually blipping, and then he went back to it because he was chasing a few extra points. But this season he's actually permanently moved to blipping the throttle. And at the moment, Brenton O'Brien's actually just jumped to the race control. I was actually chatting to him about this. The teammates wanted to, this comes from Dan Hall, they wanted to give a nickname to Brenton O'Brien on stream, Disappointed Dad, and that's exactly how he sounds on the in-race radio, I'll tell you that much.
There's a lot of tyre smoke that we're sort of seeing. Coming through here, we can't see anything, but it looks like something did happen because there was a lot of smoke going on there as well. But
might be Brenton O'Brien, actually. Yeah, it's Brenton O'Brien. It's 100% Brenton O'Brien. I tell you what, he's been tagged by Chris Miller on the way to the chicane, so Chris Miller's got more on his plate, and this will be the replay that tells the story. Gets a little bit of a run, gets a little bit of an overlap for Chris Miller, gets to the outside, and then they're just touching. Oh, he's trying to pinch him, isn't he, for Chris Miller?
They're definitely a pinch attempt, but I don't think he had enough overlap to really be trying the pinch attempt there. Brenton was always really going to sort of come up, and the contact really happened in the rear quarter of the car. So, yeah, saw what he was going for, but unfortunately, I think there's going to be a slam dunk against Chris Miller in that one.
Well, unfortunately, that's how they go, and unfortunately for Brenton O'Brien, race start number 100 has not gone his way. He's been unlucky. In the meantime, just got an update coming from the Frog League Juice guys. Brenton Nietzsche's trying to manage he's making pace at the moment. So the rubber management phase is sort of eked out as the race has gone on. The rubber's starting to come to him. So for Brenton Nietzsche, he's going to be trying to push on to that battle for 5th place, which has got Blake Delaney, your race winner from last time out. The problem that he's got is Delaney's put a fair bit more fuel. Most of the cars ahead of him have indeed put more fuel on. Matt Vanderkran's about the only one with a light fuel load. So for Vanderkran, he's taking less fuel, try and jump clear. At the moment, he holds down P number 3, but for Scott Gamble, he is unfortunately closing in a little bit. There is 10 seconds worth of fuel advantage going the way of Scott Gamble in this phase of the race. And for Vanderkran, was second when he came out after the pit stops, as he was one of the later drivers to come in. And since then, Michael Talianchis has gone around him as Talianchis is going to start picking up traffic at this point in time as well.
Oh, looks like he came off that curb. You can see he's closing up. Talianchis will look to the inside as they get to the final corner. This is such a hard place to get the move done. You can see he's chirping the front brakes in the way into the corner. Gets it done beautifully. But you can see coming off that banking into that section there, the car just gets so unweighted. So you're offline, you're trying to make a pass on the car in front of you. It's so difficult to do. So to pull that off the way he did, you can see another battle here going at the moment. And a bit deep there. Nash, he's going to lose a spot. That's Chrisdale's going to get through.
It was Brenton
Nietzsche.
And now it's going to be Troy Stone Street that's attacking the rear bumper of these guys as well. And this has allowed Blake Delaney to skip a little bit clear, and then all of a sudden have a look in the rearview mirror, because here comes Ken Latta as the yellow fishy motorsports entry buys his way into this. They were talking in the chat earlier on, Mez, about buying a ticket to the end of the race. Well, that's about this terminology. Here, it's about making sure that you've got a set of rubber for that final pit stop is the NASCAR terminology. Saving everything up, work on the car right the way through the day. And for Ken Latta, he's worked on his positions the way through the day. He's now buying himself into things. We're only probably about 5 or 6 laps away, ladies and gentlemen, for the second round of pit stops coming your way. And at the moment, we'll keep our eyes on this battle pack because it's big. Nash is going to get Troy Stone Street going to his outside as they come to the chicane. Oh. Stone Street gets it. Nash is going to back out. But Stone Street got a terrible run. And have a look! Picking the pockets of both of them. Ken Ladder's gone to some absolute Thieves Guild style training there because he saw an opportunity coming. He walked up, he watched them on the way in, and he just picked their pockets stone cold empty.
That was just beautiful reading of what was happening in front of him there. We'll go to our replay and have a look at this, and I think there was a little bit of miscommunication between them there. I think maybe Stonechik tried to back out of it or not, and there was just two cars trying to find the one bit of space, but he'd done that beautifully. Kenny's just watched it, and then as soon as it's opened up, boom, he's gone for the door. And yeah, just fantastic work there for Ken, but also fantastic work for the other two drivers to not trip over each other in that situation as well. We've seen that a bit tonight. Two drivers going through there and just getting a little bit crossed up coming off the corner, but they're still able to keep it off the wall. So there's definitely a bit of a skill out there tonight with that corner as well.
Multiple drivers now coming to the attention of their pit crews. It'll be David Nash and Michael Stewart, the first to jump in for their second and final stops of the night. We'll see where these guys feed back in for Nash. It's going to be right on the rear bumper of Stewart Hall, and he's got fresh rubber here. Gets straight to it for Michael Stewart as well. He's immediately going to apply the burners to, I believe, the rear bumper of Stephen Kennedy. No, it's Stephen Banks. It's ahead of him. The two Steves, next two cars on the road. And he will want to be making use of that fresh rubber, so he's going to have to get a really, really good drive when they get back out the oval. And he's going to have to get brave at the chicane, second lap in a row.
Nash coming out of the corner now. Be looking as they head down. He's got another really good run. Again, he's going to go to the inside. Again, they're going to go side by side into that corner. Oh! Nash, though, will come out the other side. Mario will get out as well, but it looks like even Stewie Hall's going to actually have a chance here as well. Try and go around the outside. He actually will get around the outside and get the job done.
It's getting brave up here because it is time to really punch that ticket. If you've bought a ticket, time to punch it, because here we go in terms of things. Pit lane strategies. Another car that's just come down to the attention might have actually been Stephen Kennedy. Indeed it has. Stephen Kennedy and Michael Quain are the two in the lane for their final stops for this evening. Actually, Jamie Knight might have completed. Yeah, he has actually finished his last stop of the night as well. So drivers up and down the field now starting to come to the attention of their crews. And for our race leader, Darren Lobb has just started lap number 36. So right on that pit lane window time. And here they come. Thick and fast, I get the feeling. No, not many takers this time by. So I think it'll be the next lap by where we'll start to see a few drivers look to dip into the pits. There might be a few drivers look to run long here and pick up that safety car as well. But I get the feeling you just got to get in early. You've got to premeditate it now and jump in early and try and grab some track position.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Track position is going to be the big key there. You can see on screen now, Scott Gamble's popped himself up into P3. That was the position he was looking at for a fair while there as well. So he's got that one done. So now he'll aim down the road a little bit as well. But I'm also noticing a bit too. Talyancic, so maybe because of a bit of traffic at the moment, but Talyancic is actually closing down that gap a little bit to Darren Lobb as well. So the lead battle might be actually closing down as well. He's closing it down to about 4 seconds there. So this battle for the lead might not actually be over as much as we thought. Talyancic is going to start to really mean a little bit at a time. We'll have to see how that one plays out as well. So top three positions, still a bit to play for at the moment.
And how good was that graphic though? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 in those top five, all the different pit stop laps. Well, Darren Lobb's going to kick on. Gamble and Talyancic are going to go with him. And of course, Blake Delaney went long on that first. We talked about strategy last week. He said, yep, I actually I wanted to go very, very short in that middle stint. That was all planned. It was all part of the plan. And make everyone think it was going for the overcut in that final stint really played out in his favour. Have a look at Nitschke, though, because Nitschke is really starting to close in on the back bumper here. The problem being there's 3 seconds worth of fuel difference. Ken Ladder's going to clip these guys and disappear down the road in terms of his pit stops because his final fill is going to be tiny compared to everyone around him.
Matt Vernicron actually has made his way into pit lane as well, so I'm pretty sure that'll be Matt said and done for the remainder of this one. He'll get home from there. But yeah, interesting to see how this will play out. brilliant drive by Nitschke as well. He's really has come alive this season. Doing a fantastic job sitting inside the top 5, but it'll be interesting to see, because as I said, Ken Ladder's going to be the big question mark for this top 5 at the moment, because he's not far at all. He's actually sitting right, not far from the back. Sorry, he's right there. He's right there on the back of him. Sorry. So, yeah, that's going to be the big question mark. How much fuel does Brenton need to get home? And how much fuel does Ken need to get home? That's the big question. We can already assume at this point that Ken does not need a lot. But at the moment, the pace coming from Ken, he's starting to show that maybe he stands a big sideways out of the corner. You can see him getting the car very sideways there. So the rear tyres on that car are starting to scream out for help. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And it's not far up the road too with Scott Gamble as well. So Ken's really playing this one in fantastically. He really is looking for a chance at maybe potentially getting a podium here.
Interesting to note as well, Brent Nitschke is actually only 3 starts away from his 50th start in the V8 Veterans, making his 47th start here tonight. And for Nitschke, that's experience starting to come in here. He's just continually improved throughout his time in the season, in the series, of the V8 Veterans. I'll tell you what, at the moment, I think RaceKraft are getting value for their money as naming rights sponsor here this season, because the racing has been intense, as it always is in the V8 Veterans, and I think that's what attracts them as a naming rights sponsor. A big shout out as well to everyone who makes it possible on behalf of the V8 Veterans as we get through the 2/3 marker of the biggest pot of V8 Veteran Vindaloo you're likely to see at the start of this year. Shout out Parramatta, Isuzu, Logitech, G, Player One Sim Gear, Nova Sim Sports, and of course our proud naming rights sponsor in RaceKraft Simulations in the West. Well, for our drivers at the moment, it's a trip to America, and it's a trip to America a lot of them were dreading. But again, the cream has risen to the top. How deep into this race, though, does the driver of the 269, Ken Ladder, go? How deep into the field does he go? Because right now, we sort of talked about it earlier, we touched on it earlier, but this is worthwhile saying, and this is worthwhile saying to the cows come home, plus 35 spots here tonight. That is an immense drive, man. That is something that the mortals among us can only dream of as he hops over the curbs through the chicane at the back into the back straight as well. We've got to keep our eyes just about on a swivel at this point in time, because battles everywhere you look. Yeah. Battle for the podium's raging on, and then we've got this battle as well just inside the top 20. That's the thing, these positions, they're still going to battle hard for them as hard as what the leaders are battling at the moment as well. So see, Stewie Hall's got the lead of this group at the moment. Travis Hunt, Rick Sipper as well, another driver that's qualified down the field a little bit. He's trying to pull his way back up as well. You can see big sideways coming off that corner onto the oval. NASCAR 1, now they're coming out of NASCAR 2, heading down towards the chicane. You can see closing up a little bit at the moment is Travis, and they're going to bounce over the curbs through that corner. You can see they're hitting that corner just so fast. The front's just popping up a little bit, and he's really got a nice run. Travis is going to have a bit of a look here. No, just rolls out of it a little bit, not quite close enough to have a look. They'll roll through second last corner, out of the last corner, they'll head to turn 1, a little scrape on the wheel. You can see the puff of smoke as they come out of that corner. The mirror just glances off the wall. They are pushing it to the absolute limit. We're back up the front. This is Blake Delaney. You can see Nitschke hot in pursuit, Ladder hot in pursuit as well. So this battle for P5 is far from over, and Ken Ladder is making his dive to the box. This will be his final stop. Big lock up onto the pit lane. Oh, that's going to be interesting trying to get out of that pit box, because he's on a very acute angle. Was that? Oh, he's at the reverse as well. Yeah. Oh, that's a big loss of time there. It's so coming in at the pit lane. He's positioned right there because he's Scott Gamble as well, making his way out of pit lane. So you can see Ken Ladder was not far off at all from the back of Scott Gamble, and you can see the gap now between them is huge. So that little mistake, just watching at the moment, we can't even see Ken on that little bit of backstretch there. So 2 seconds difference, 4 seconds in total, the time lost. So the pit top time's not too dissimilar, but that pit lane time, because he had to reverse it and get it going again, that's a lot of time he's lost.
And that's obviously going to benefit Nitschke and Delaney at the moment, because that was the battle pack I was looking at as well. So that'll benefit them.
Yep, so he's going to try and now close back in, and indeed he's right on Torrey Stone Street, so he will try and get that job done. Darren Lobb's going to come to the lane. Scott Gamble's been through the lane. Talianchis looks like he's going to continue on. Yeah, him and Delaney are both going to keep going. Nitschke's come to the lane as well, because he's recognised as an opportunity to get a jump on Ken Latta. But I tell you what, Mez, looking at that makes me feel good. I tell you what, Rick Sieber and Stewie Hall are going to go side by side through the chicane as we're currently talking. And Stewie Hall forced Sieber to back out. So there is still that battle pack that we're talking about. Jason Strange has just emerged from the pit lane as well. And he's now on the back end of these guys. This is for 14th, 15th, and 16th. Was 20th a little while ago. Stuart Hall still yet to make his second stop. So he's holding these guys up quite stoutly. And Rick Sieber wanted to have something to say about it, the chicane on that lap, but risk versus reward continues to be the words of the night.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of impressive. I think a lot of people would have been... we've seen some earlier races during the week in this layout, and lots of sort of incidents, so to speak, happening. And don't want to give it the commentator's curse too early, but I think tonight on a whole, do it, yeah, of course. On a whole, I think all these drivers should actually be quite proud of themselves. I think a lot of people up and down would have been predicting that this was going to be a bit of a mess, because we had sort of seen that happen in a few other instances. But no, I think they've all done a pretty awesome job. They've kept the incidents down to a minimum. I only see one safety car. I think maybe would have predicted a few more, but will run single file through the chicane. I know why you were saying come on.
Jason Strange was thinking about it. He was absolutely thinking about it, because Stuart Hall recognised that he's given Rick Sieber a little bit of a rough up that he probably didn't need to. Then off sequence in terms of strategy, he's not actually fighting him, and he recognised that time through on the bank, and he just lifted and let him in. But Jason Strange is now going to harass the rear bumper of Stewie Hall and see if there's going to be a way by for our race leaders. How long are they going to kick on? Tally is into the lane this time by, and Blake Delaney's still going to come to the pit lane this time. We'll have to keep half an eye. No, he's going to kick on as well. So all still to play for in the final stages of this one. But how good is this from Ken Latta? He's eclipsed Brent Nitschke by 3.5 seconds now. 4 seconds up the road to Matt Vanderkrant, and that will be a top 5 performance.
Just saw Scott Gamble and Darren Lobb go side by side to the final quarter. Darren had to go jump off the track to sort of... wasn't going to make the apex. Although this is technically not a battle for position. Oh, sorry, no, it is a battle for position.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously not what Darren would have wanted. We'll get a replay of this. We'll have a look now. Goes for a look down the inside, big dive. You can see the rear just does not want to stop, and then over the curb, Scott will take that position right straight back. So now Darren will have to have another crack at trying to get that position back next time around.
I wonder whether or not Scott Gamble hasn't underfilled this car massively, because there's a 5-second difference in terms of their pit stops. There was 5 seconds between these two guys out on track. Now, there is a differential there, because there's only about 3.5 seconds in terms of the stop time, but have a look at the transit time. It's 4.3 seconds. So Lobb's lost another second in the pit lane there compared to Gamble. But I wonder whether or not Gamble's actually got a fuel question mark over him. He's had to try and do something to make a race of it. Well, he has, and he has made a race of this. And Blake Delaney's going to continue to just keep driving as far as he pops. No. Delaney's only 8 seconds up the road. My apologies. So I was about to say, has he completed his last stop? No. He is just 8 seconds up the road in terms of lap time. So in terms of things here, this is going to buy Mike Talianchich back into the argument as well. He's only 3 seconds behind these guys. So a little bit more stoushing, please, from you, Mr. Lobb. We'll make a real race of this at the tail end.
I do believe from memory that in that first stop, Scott Gamble, I think, was one of the longest stoppers. So I think he might have stayed in the box for a bit longer than everyone else, which is why he sort of dropped and had to fight his way through. But you can see, look out, there's no way Scott's going to give this one up. He's going to fight it. Lobb recognises that one, rolls out of the way, but he's so... Oh, no, how has he kept that off the wall? Oh.
My word. There's no pit stops left in this race, but I tell you what, Darren Lobb would be asking for a change of underwear at that next stop at that point in time. He was pointed at the wall on the right-hand side, and all said and all done, hasn't even brushed it. How good's the car control from the driver of the 099?
That was just incredible. We would have put bets on that one being into the wall, but no, he's done a fantastic job. He's kept it off, but again, you got to look a bit further backwards. That's going to hurt his rear tyres. But look, Talyancic is there, and Talyancic has the younger tyres out of these two at the moment. So this is really starting to play a little bit towards Talyancic. And Lobb's going to be struggling with those rear tyres. He would have absolutely fried them trying to recover that. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of an opportunity for Talyancic to play himself back into this one as well. And it's only about a second and a half, so not much further, and he'll be sort of just in draft range. So, yeah, this is still well and truly on for the top three.
Let's talk a little bit about the driver that won last week's race. Blake Delaney at this point in time has come down to the attention of his pit lane crew, and he has dropped into third place. He was third place when he comes through. He's got a pit lane penalty. He has got a pit lane. I reckon he's sped on the entry to pit lane, because all of a sudden he's dropped from what would have been a top 5 performance, and he's popped back out 27th. And what should have been a 40-second pit lane transit time is about a minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's huge. We'll see if we can get a replay on it. Skip back a little bit.
Absolutely. Look at how deep he was locking that one up, because that was a mile after the cone. Yep. Speeding on the way in.
He had 3 attempts to try and get that under speed. Yeah, I think was it a late entry? Because that was up fairly high. Usually everyone else we've sort of seen is dropping below that line before they actually.
Oh no, Travis Hunt, blown engine by the look of that. That is not good. So this is before the final chicane. Everyone's finished their final stops, and pit lane entry speed, by the way, went back and had a look, is 64 kilometers an hour. He was doing 80 when he crossed the line. Safety car has been deployed. We'll have a race of this one to the flag, and there is going to be about 5 laps worth of racing action left to go. But for Travis Hunt, that man is going to ban me from ever talking to him again at this rate. Because every time I talk to him, this is what happens.
Now, I'm not going to say I did anything. I'm just going to blame you. I did say that we'd done so well and there was only one safety car tonight. I'm still going to blame you because that's what we do. We've already came to this discussion before.
Yeah, motorsport. I was listening to that discussion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's always your fault. But yeah, you can see the disappointment in Travis at the moment. That's gonna suck. He was doing a really, really good job as well. He was poking around that. Obviously, we're watching him in that little battle just inside the top 20. But that's gonna really suck for him as well. But it has set up an incredible battle here. Top 3: Gamble, Lobb, Talyancic, and again, Talyancic has the newer tyres out of this lot. Lobb has used them a little bit too much, especially in the rears, but we'll see what happens with this one. So Gamble's not going to, obviously, we know Gamble, he's going to fight hard for this. He's not going to give him an inch. He wants to get results this year. The championship, he's said, it's already over and done with. It's not happening. So this is 100% going to be on for a result. And Ken Ladder as well, inside the top 5. That's also going to be another question mark as well.
Well, at this point in time, he's on fresh rubber. Matt Vanderkraan's just in front of him. If something happens in this top 3, and what we've seen thus far from Darren Lobb is a man that is very fired up this season, would be probably the most appropriate way to put it. He's a little bit unsettled and a little bit red misty at times, so there is a chance of anything to happen within this top 3. And Matt Vanderkraan has got a great opportunity to sit there and have a look through the windscreen and decide what is his best opportunity to get through this. In the meantime, though, of anyone who can sit here and grab themselves a burger and enjoy it. It's the first of the Chubby Buns entries for Old Mate and Sons. It's Jason Strange. I always like pointing out that their sponsor's Chubby Buns, and I have been invited out for a dinner to the Chubby Buns place within Sydney. So the next time I head up to Sydney, I know Jason Strange and I are going to be heading out for a burger. If Jason Strange is from Sydney, I never actually confirmed that stat.
You'll have to do a vlog for us and show us how good it is. You know, looking for it. The V8 Vets blog, the Vets Vindaloo vlog.
Yeah. Let's not go that far, man. Let's settle down, please. We run a professional show here. I do just like saying Chubby. It's a great name for a burger joint, though. I'm super keen.
The marketing of it, it's so catchy, and you know exactly what it's talking about. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic name, and yes, one that along with Vindaloo, I think it's like the top 2 most used words for Scott is Vindaloo and Chubby Buns. So.
No, untrue. Yeah, Scott McCune is number 1.
I was going to say, you've left Scott alone a bit this season.
You say that. I was talking to the JWM guys about this. They said, man, you got to come in. The reason that you keep coming and talking to us each week is that you give Scott McCune a break. Well, he's out of the race early this week, so that certainly didn't work. And Travis Hunt's out of the race as well. So they've got to stop trying to predicting things.
Well. Oh, man. So we're going to try and pull a replay up. We'll see what's actually happened with Travis Hunt as well, because it obviously looks like the motor has popped, but we want to actually see what actually attributed it. So we'll see if we can get a replay up for you. Might have it here. Heading through NASCAR 2.
It's gone there.
Yeah.
Is he out of fuel?
Can't.
This is the same issue that affected him at Monza, because there wasn't a blow up.
So
do you remember at Monza? He just lost power.
Yeah. What's happened there? Is that a hardware?
Well, you remember what happened to him at Monza last season, right? Where the car just shut off under safety car whilst he was sitting in a podium position. That looks nearly identical.
Car shut off or lost pedals? Oh no, he jumped on the brakes pretty hard, so it wouldn't be a pedal disconnect. No way. So yeah, I don't know, maybe something happened there.
Unless he's got a button bound in his wheel that is an ignition cutout button, and he's bumped it, and then
the dash was still on. I'm pretty sure even in spectator mode, if the dash is still on, it means the car still has ignition. So don't know. Might have to do some post-race investigations to find out what's happened there, because yeah, as you said, it seems like that's the second time that's happened for him, where it's just motor's just lost power out of nowhere. So not a good feeling to have the same hardware issue crop up a bit later.
And there's not an engine failure, because he's not got a meatball flag. So there was the yellow flashing light on the rear end of the Ford Mustang that denotes that there is an engine issue. So the issue from Monza after it was tracked down was the pedals actually just disconnected. So it's a completely different issue this time around, because he was a controlled stop.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely see he jumped on the brake pedal. So yeah.
Hang on, actually, you know what? You know what we can actually do? Travis is always good for a chat, so we'll see if we can actually grab him.
See, you can actually, if you can visualize this, you can see Scott running through the paddock at the moment.
Sprinting, absolutely. I don't sprint very often, but got him. Travis Hunt. I'm assuming that there is a pair of hands cradling your head at the moment.
Oh, there's a big hole in my monitor. How's that sound?
Wow, all right, that good.
No, EJ.
What's going on, mate? Because this is not the first time it's happened. Because obviously we're just talking about the pedal issues from Monza that you had last season. That one would have been the most frustrating to bear. But something else went on at Phillip Island as well.
Yeah, so that was pedals because I got brand new pedals, but they seem to just disconnect whenever they want. So I sorted that out, but tonight was just my fault coming out of the chicane too hard and kicked me right into the wall.
Oh, you'd actually hit the wall already.
Yeah, right at the end there.
Okay. So which chicane was it? Was it on the previous lap at the end of the fast chicane or on the way out of the chicane coming to the start finish line? Because we actually missed that one. We only caught you pulling up.
Oh, okay, no, the fast chicane on the back straight, yeah.
Okay,
coming out
so
of that, yep.
So it was from the previous lap. Unfortunate, mate. It was a difficult race there tonight. How's Jeff talking through things? Because obviously he's a little bit further back in the pack as well.
Yeah, so he's had a couple of little bingles go wrong with him as well. He's touched the wall, hit a couple of people, but yeah, I think he's just trying to drag his tyres out to the end now. So yeah, bit of bad luck for both of us.
And mate, there's a few people saying that are obviously shattered to see that from you, and there's a fair bit of support bouncing around the chat. So the opportunity is to say hi to all of those whilst you're here.
Oh, guys, I really appreciate it. You know, I try my hardest every week, but for some reason something goes wrong. But I'm going to put in max effort for the rest of the season. So yeah.
All right, mate, best of luck, because Scott Gamble has already gone back to Green Flag Racing as we get on with things. He did not hesitate by any stretch of the imagination, and that is because he's got to try and buy some distance from Darren Lobb. There is going to be 10, even less than that, sorry, my apologies. There's going to be 4 laps left to run as they cross the start-finish line for the field of the V8 Veteran Split number 1. It's going to be 200 kilometres at the end of this thing. It's all going to boil down to having a good race to get to this point, and then you've got to make these last 4 laps really count.
Yeah. Now there's clearing out now as well, so the top 2, Gamble and Lobb, have just separated. So Taliancic is not going to factor in this one at all. Matt Vanderkran's got a ladder all over the back of him at the moment, so the battle for P4. He's trying to go around the outside. This is going to be tricky. Doesn't want to get pinched up against the wall, but the outside line might help him. He's going to try and switch it back. He goes to the inside. Smart heads-up strategy there. He's going to have the bottom line, which is going to help. And then you also got to see there, Troy Stonestreet's going to get involved in this one too. He wants to pick up a spot. They're going to head down to the chicane. Are they going to try and make it too wide? No, Stonestreet backs out of that one. But Ken Ladder will pop himself up into P4.
Oh, David Nash! David Nash just had a huge moment coming through the chicane, all out of shape, and now it's Scotty Van Loon into the wall as Nash rejoins the track. Van Loon went up there on his own. Here comes Michael Stewart down to the final chicane. The 919 gets down to the inside, backs out of it when they get out the other side. Everyone settles it down, and Scott Van Loon's not all that happy about that one, but it was an out-of-control moment for David Nash. 3 to go at the line, and now they start to really bank up. Here comes Rick Zebra. Here comes Jamie McKnight.
Yeah, you can see all that going on, and you can see Stewart trying to have a look at Van Loon. Van Loon's really struggling at the moment. Looking at a quick look at replay as well. Try and see what's happening. We're going to have a look at David Nash heading down towards the chicane. Settle through there, hits the curb, gets a bit sideways, holds on to it. Oh, he's come. Oh, don't know how race control is going to look at that one. No doubt that's been called in.
But in the meantime, we've got this battle pack on for the race lead, because right now Darren Lobb is doing all he possibly can. When we get to the start-finish line, there's going to be two to go. Something's happened to Nick Wood as well in the background of this thing.
Oh, Van Loon again, he's gotten sideways, and he's also dropped more spots again. Van Loon's all over the shop at the moment. Sorry to jump away, but yeah, just watching that battle, it has just gone from bad to worse for Van.
Cross, so there's 2 meatball flags. There's a whole bunch of them. Rick Zebra is done. Rick Zebra is crawling. He's looking for someone to get back into the pit lane. Blake Delaney's got a meatball. Blake Delaney's engine's just expired. We'll have a safety car to finish this thing.
Oh, with only 2 to go, maybe. Hopefully he can pull the thing to the side. Yep, engine is gone and buried. This race, obviously, you just pointed out, winner from last time around. I think the car's been pulled. I think he'll be fine there. I don't think they'll pull a safety car for that one. He's clear of harm's way, but this crazy. We just, all of a sudden, cars left, right, instead of having issues. 2 cars that are not having issues at the moment are out front. Scott Gamble in control of this one as well. Darren Lobb still in pursuit. They'll have 1 more to go when they get to the line. Lobb is driving the absolute leather off this thing at the moment, trying to get to Gamble. But
there's two cars that need a tow. They might just call this, because we've got 2 cars needing a tow at the moment. I think Damien Cross is one of them. And they've just called 555 clear to tow, and I think Delaney's going to be the same. So 1 more lap to go. 3.65 kilometres. Darren Lobb still within touching distance of Scott Gamble, but we need to look back towards 5th spot, where at the moment Matt van der Kraan is trying to really hang on to things from Troy Stone Street, and then also Brent Nitschke, and then there's murder on the dance floor when we get back to 10th spot. Jamie McKnight crawling all over at this point. Michael Stewart, Dave Kirby's dropped a spot. Jason Strange is in there, and that is the battle pack. We're on that last time through the chicane. It all kicked off. We got 4 meatballs in the last lap or so, and this is the battle pack that really came from. It was that 10th spot on back from Michael Stewart, and you saw the number of cars that were in his rear view.
And look at this battle pack as well. So this is far from over. There's battle packs right down the field.
Done.
14th, 15th. So
because at the moment, the battle for the lead, the last time through the chicane, it's been flat out 200 kilometres here tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Darren Lobb went in deep the last time he tried this move. He gets there, he nudges Gamble. There was contact there. Does Gamble get out the other side through the chicane? They're going to run out of time. It'll be Gamble to the line to win his first race of season number 18. And the man that was champion in season number 16 holds him off at the biggest dance in Charlotte. Van der Kraan will get home in 5th. Can ladder from the rear of the field to 4th spot. What a phenomenal try. Michael Stewart. Now Jason Strange is in the fence again as well. And now he's going to try and get through. He had nowhere necessarily to go. And the problem is, rule is hold your brakes. But where was he meant to disappear to? Even if he hadn't held his brakes, he still would have been collected in that one. He's got to grab reverse and just try and back it up.
Yep, grab reverse, just drive it across the line, because you're not going to get anywhere with that unless the engine has completely gone. It was a big engine. Still got engine, so yeah, just grab reverse and just get it across the line any way you can. That's massive way to end this one. Looks like he has got it going again. He will get it across the line, but that was a fantastic result. Unfortunately, that's going to drop him right down the pack.
Yeah, and Jeff Thomas will finish P8 to this. Yeah, it's all starting to come in for a check for race control, and I don't blame it because there was a lot of stuff going on in those final few moments. So your final racing result, unofficially as it currently stands, is Scott Gamble from Darren Lobb for Michael Taliancic. Ken Latta comes home in 4th. Matt van der Kraan rounds out your top 5. Troy Stone Street, Brent Nitschke. From there on back, though, there'll be a few question marks sort of raised. Tim Nicol will get home in P number 8 unofficially. Nash from 9th and Michael Stewart from 10th spot in terms of things. And then this is where all the chaos and drama kicked off a little bit further back. It would be Jamie Knight in P11, Dave Kirby in 12th, Warwick Lewis. Blanchard will actually get a reasonable result. I spoke to Chris Blanchard. He was looking for a good result here tonight for WKNP Sim Sports. Dean Flavel also has a reasonable night at the office. Darren Crosby, Jeff Thomas, Damien Cairns gets into 19th. Stephen Banks round out your top 20, Maz.
And we'll flick over to our P21, which is Nick Wood. Chad Vigor will be coming home in 22nd. Rick Vigor back in 23rd. Murray Ali will be coming home in P24. 25th will be Stephen Kennedy, Stewie Hall in 26th. Robert Crisdale in 27th. Paul Burns in 28th, whilst Ricky Hyde in P29. Michael Quain will round out your top 30. We'll flick over to P31. Peter van der Kraan home there. Jason Strange will come home in P32 as well, unfortunately, after that final corner incident. Brenton O'Brien in P33. Greg Sharp in P34, and then we start seeing some of the DNFers. Blake Delaney 2 laps down, Damien Cross, Scotty Van Loon, Rick Sibra as well, Robert Griffiths as well 4 laps down, Dan Hall 5 laps down, and then we obviously got Travis Hunt 41 with a DNF, Chris Miller 42nd, Scotty McCune 43rd, and that is rounding out your finishing positions.
Just when you think the Vindaloo's finished off, just when you think all the ingredients are stirred up and added together, the curry's always got a final few spices to be added at the tail end of things. V8 Veterans Vindaloo, there ain't nothing like it. I'm quite honestly addicted, Mez. There's none of this wrestling stuff for me, just a bit of Vindaloo on every Thursday night.
Imagine if we could actually turn this into a wrestling. No, it's not getting that topic. Get through your interviews first before we even start bringing that one up.
Well, there we go. That's a popular question for tonight's interviews. We might say, who's your favourite wrestler or favourite wrestling move to everyone? We'll get some funky answers because these guys are dating back a little bit longer as well. What we can do is we can start at the bottom end of the podium and work our way up because we've got the driver of the 21 available to us. It's last season's champion. It is Michael Taliancic, and Tally, it was a little bit of a race in a bottle. There was a storm brewing, and only a safety car could set that one up for us to go wild at the finale, mate. How was your night at the office?
It was stressful. Like, this track is high stakes, man. Like, the amount of damage that I had at that last stop. Like, I accidentally took my fast repair at the first one, and like, I had heaps of damage just from going through that bus stop. I just wanted to have a good, solid result. I didn't care to win or anything like that, but like, I want to win this championship, so like, I could not afford to like put it into the wall or like have severe damage. So I was just trying my best to run a nice, calm race and not die through that bus stop, which I'm really impressed we only had the safety cars we did, because this is a tough track.
Talk to us a little bit in terms of the championship standings, because we highlighted it pre-race. There was only 1 point between yourself and Ken Latta. When you looked at the qualifying results, Ken Latta 41st, you go, there's some points on the card tonight. Was that sort of playing through the forefront of your mind? And then secondly, I guarantee you're going to be one of the guys that go and message Ken and just be like, mate, that's a cracking job, 41st to 4th. That's going to set up the championship. We talked about it tonight, actually. Your race from Laguna Seca last season, where you went from the rear of the grid on lap 1 to the top 5, was huge. What do you think that drive is from Ken?
It's a great drive from him. I knew he could do it. I think he took advantage of that first safety car and filled up on fuel, so there's quite a good chunk of time there that he would have saved through the pit stops and strategy. I'm not sure if he went for an early stop. If I was in his shoes, I would have taken the stop under the first safety car, and then I would have gone in at like lap 3 just to get out of traffic. But I'm not sure exactly what he did, but he did a phenomenal job, and I knew he was capable of doing something like that. He was definitely fast this week. He's just had a bit of a shocker in qualifying.
In terms of things, man, the skills that have been tested over the last couple of weeks, it's not been easy in terms of the calendar. You know, we head to Watkins Glen next time out. Do things start to settle down on this calendar going forward? Because it has just been mental thus far.
Oh yeah, Watkins Glen is like a favourite for me, so I'm looking forward to that. I won't have to work quite so hard in practice, and it's not so. You're not so likely to die, but there still is that chance at turn 2 up through the S's. That's some mega crashes happen there, but the goal will just be to be up the front so you can avoid anyone stacking it through there. But yeah, as terms of last week, I had COVID, so I was like really off my game, but I was very, very happy to get a top 5 there. And this week, I just wanted to have a nice solid result, so I'm really happy. I think I might add a little bit more pace to me, but from my point of view, Scott and Darren, neither of those guys are in this championship hunt. They would be going all out for the win, and I just couldn't afford to get into a tango with them. It was definitely interesting watching them at the end there. I was kind of nervous that something would happen to them and I'd get caught up in it, but no, they did a phenomenal job, and well done to Scott. He's had some hard luck this season, so it's good to see him get a win.
Mate, in terms of things, it's been phenomenal results all the way through. Thank you very much for chatting to us. The floor's all yours to talk sponsors and say the shout outs and thank yous that you need to.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Altus Engineering, RaceTech New Zealand, VRS, and Logitech. Big shout out to everyone behind the scenes at the Veteran Series. It's a great series. We all love it. And thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and well done to Scott and Darren. And yeah, as you said, Ken did a phenomenal job. I'm glad he's kept his championship alive. I'm a little bit worried for Blake. I don't know what happened to him there, but I thought he was going to be a big threat this week.
And then finally, we did actually come up with one quick question just to ask you. Do you have a favourite wrestler or a favourite wrestling move in honour of Mez watching wrestling as the vets last week?
Nah,
No,
I don't
not a
know
wrestling
nothing
guy?
about wrestling, sorry.
Not a Hulk Hogan fan, not a John Cena fan, nothing like that.
Nah, I'm a boxing fan.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, so watch a real sport is Tally's comment to Mez, basically.
I was going to say, we'll change that question. Who's your favourite boxer then?
At the moment is Joseph Parker. Gotta support the old Kiwi. He just did a phenomenal job beating Deontay Wilder. Like, it's a mega job by him. So, yeah, pretty proud as a fellow Kiwi.
All right, thank you very much for your time there, Tally, and we'll chat to you again in the future. I'm sure go celebrate and enjoy that one because that was a tough old fight, brother.
Have a great night. Thanks, guys.
All right, Mez, unfortunately at the moment we're not seeing the presence of Darren Lobb as it currently stands, but I'll give you the floor to chat to tonight's race winner, driver of the 543 for WKMP Sim Sports. It's Scotty Gamble.
Yeah,
Scott, congratulations. Awesome job tonight. Strategy seemed to be the name of the game tonight. Worked out pretty well for you in the end, coming through, sneaking the win out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a good think about the strategy, looking at guys' pace at leading up to the first pit stop, and I sort of thought, well, maybe we can carry a little bit extra fuel and maintain the same sort of pace we're doing now, and that might work out in the end. And yeah, it did. So.
That late safety car gave us obviously something to watch, and obviously you sort of mentioned the championship sort of not on the cards this year. You're just going for results, and kind of imagine that last run to the end there was no way you were going to give Lob the room he needed to get the job done, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely not. Lob and myself, well, we're not in it. We're both out of the championship run. We might be able to get a top 20 and not pre-quali for next season, but we were there to win. We both put on the line. He's extremely fast on, the colder tyres. Like, he had really good early race pace, but yeah, credit to him. We held it together. We had a couple of little bumps and grinds, but that was all good fun,
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was definitely lots of bumps and grinds. Obviously, there was a moment for you, and I believe Taliancic as well. Actually, no, sorry, Win Delaney would have earlier on in the race. That chicane was obviously a big, massive talking point tonight. So tight and narrow, trying to fit two cars through that. You did give that a go. How was that from the driver's seat when that was happening?
Yeah, that was with Michael. Yeah, that was. I was surprised. I thought he was going to back out of it, and he didn't, and gave us a little bump in the side, pushed us wide, and I was like, oh, this is bad. And so I just floored it just to lighten up the front end, and yeah, somehow we got airborne over the cones, missed the black wall, landed it, and yeah, I was waiting for the engine to blow, and it didn't, held together, so it was good. It was good fun, heart in the mouth stuff.
I'm guessing there was no motorbike sales in the offing after that one. Figured that you've done your first jump. You could transfer it over to motocross after that.
Yeah, no, we're all good. We'll just leave it on track tonight.
But awesome effort, and obviously, yeah, there'll be the continued plan for the rest of the season. This is only your first win for this season. You want to try and rack up a few more before we get to the end?
Yeah, I would have loved to. I felt a little bit hard done by at first round Phillip Island when we had a blue screen. We got a new PC, so we had to iron out a few bugs, and yeah, she blue screened on me, and that was a shame. And then I binned it a couple of times at Motorsport on my own, and last week, well, that's just sort of what happens. But yeah, so it is good to get the win. My partner told me we're actually back Thursday, so instead of Saturday, so we're heading away. And yeah, so we might be able to get next weekend. I thought we were going to miss that round as well, but yeah, look, we just get out there, race, do the best we can, represent the team, WKMP Sim Sports the best way we can, and just enjoy it. That's what we're about.
Awesome stuff. Well, congrats again, and who do you want to thank for getting it done this week?
Oh, look, big shout out. I'm running the Open Arms Library this year for our veterans and their families, partners, children, all that. It's a counselling service, used to be the Vietnam Veterans Counselling Service. So please, anyone, if you know a veteran or their family suffering, please suggest to them Open Arms, and maybe they'll go and have a chat and find some light there. Big shout out to the team. They've been really good, really strong behind me. And yeah, it's really good fun hanging with those guys. A few extroverts in there, but it's good fun. And to admin, well done. Another season underway, and all the guys and girls within Vets. But and you guys doing the broadcast as well. And shout out to Darren Lobb. Great race, had great pace. Congratulations, and to Michael Talianic. Well done, mate. P3, very consistent season. So he's going well.
Awesome stuff. Well, congrats again, and hopefully we'll see you next Thursday for the next round.
Well, hang on. There's one more question that we've got to ask you, Scotty Gamble. In honor of Mez taking a week off for watch wrestling last week, who's your favourite wrestler or wrestling move? Doesn't care. Give us one. Give us something.
Oh, me? Well, I'll tell you what. We've got to go to the Undertaker with the big choke slam. That's pretty good.
I will pay that. Yes. I will definitely pay that one. That's a good pick.
You thought this was going to be a terrible segment that we do here, Mez, but this is going to become a weekly thing. We'll find a topic. We're going to ask our podium one fact about them from their personal lives, I think, going forward. Thank you very much for your time, Scotty. Pleasure chatting as usual.
Thanks, guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't get enough spice in your Thursday nights, I tell you what, there'll be plenty more where that came from. This weekend is going to be an important note in terms of SimSpeed commentary, but for the moment, we'll just touch on quickly next week's racing action. Live from 8:30 p.m. for your RaceKraft V8 Veterans for the Watkins Glen International. That'll be on the boot layout, which is where the supercars are heading next week. But there's also a race for charity happening this weekend as well. If you're interested in partaking in that one, it's down to, I believe, 2.5 hours at the moment. Dan's going to pass me some details in my ear in just a few moments about the race for charity. Yep, 2.5 hours. I believe it's about 6 p.m., 6:15 p.m. to start this weekend. If you're looking to get involved in that one, we will get a link to you over on YouTube chat and Twitch chat as well. Other than that, it's another interesting night at the office here, Mez. There was a lot of drivers before we jumped into the race here tonight that said, you've got to look after the car, you've got to look after your championship standings. And I think that paid dividends. The guys that kept their head were the guys that did quite well.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, hats off to everyone. They did a fantastic job. Like I said, I think a lot of us would have been predicting early on it may have been a bit of a crash fest, but no, I think everyone did a fantastic job. We saw hardly any incidents, only 2 safety cars, and everyone handled themselves very, very well tonight. So we're already seeing comments in the chat that it was a very, very difficult round. So everyone that finished tonight, even those that sort of didn't quite finish, I think they can tip their hats. That was a tough round to get through.
Just a quick update, ladies and gents. We have actually had Darren Lobb slide his way into the V8 Veterans Discord very, very late on. So just a quick chat, Mr. Lobb. That was a tricky night at the office for you in charge of the 099 machine. It's a tough place to get overtakes done. We saw, obviously, you had to go at Scotty Gamble and run wide on the run of the last chicane. That was a wild night at the office.
Mate, I arrived in the broadcast booth late, about as late as I chose to take my second pit stop. So, yeah, what a cock up! I was just saying to Scotty now in chat, where the hell did you come from, man? I wasn't even watching him on JRT. I was literally just watching Taliancic, and I was in Discord with David Nash, and he was telling me at one stage that Scott was behind him. So I was like, oh, this is nice and simple. So I ended up hitting the wall quite hard just before my second pit stop, and I thought, I'll still do another 2 laps, because I knew I'd cover Taliancic quite easily. And then the next thing, Scotty's just ahead of me, and I'm going, how the hell did that happen? Anyway, that's what you get, right?
Well, it created an interesting bit of racing at the tail end. In terms of things, mate, it's been difficult over the last couple of rounds. Good night at the office here tonight. Strong banks of points. And next week, we're looking forward to Watkins Glen. You feeling good and confident about Watkins Glen next week?
Yeah, I enjoy driving at Watkins Glen. It's going to be interesting if we get a set that doesn't sit on the rev limiter and make it hard to pass, because otherwise it's a pretty good track there if you can use the draft and pass up into the chicane. So yeah, it should be pretty good. It always makes fun racing around there. Collie it up and then sit in the draft, save fuel, and turn it into a strategic race.
And then finally, have you got a favourite wrestler or favourite wrestling move at all, Mr. Lobb?
It's got to be Diesel, man. Big old Diesel. What did he used to do? He used to stick their head between his legs, pull it up, flip them upside down, slam them down their back. Wasn't that it?
I believe it was the jackknife powerbomb. I'm pretty sure it was.
Pretty badass, wasn't he?
God, now I'm
How's the
sounding
context of that, Scotty?
a really big nerd now, aren't I?
Okay, I'm sitting over here going, I have no idea who you're talking about, but yeah, sure, that sounds great. It does sound powerful, it does sound big, it does sound boss-like. Well, thank you very much for your time, Darren. Who's the sponsors to make it possible for you?
So hello to my team boys that were sitting on Twitch taking the piss out of me and not helping me with strategy. So thanks DPR, thanks PJ, thanks Darso. You guys helped nothing. They were pretty critical of the way I was bashing up the chassis. Thank heavens I'm the only supercar driver left in the team. And then Manon Racing Products here in New Zealand, thanks for the support as always. And you guys, I miss talking to you, man.
Miss talking to you too as well, Darren. Look after yourself and we'll see you again next week from Watkins Glen, brother.
Ciao, boys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up here from the V8 Veterans broadcast. Like we said, there's action coming your way in terms of charity racing this weekend as well. Always keep your eyes on the SimSpeed socials, as well as follow us on Twitch, YouTube, and now broadcasting over on Kick as well. If you haven't seen that one, keep yourself tuned in. My name's been Scotty, the Rattlegun Rankin, alongside of Simon Mozzarella Mazzomo, and we'll see you again next week for another slice of the V8 Veterans Vindaloo.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.